Welcome to today's video, guys. So today is basically an updated version of an old video I did 3+ years ago. So basically I've got a load of MKs that are really old, and my main one I use has just got a bit dated and a little bit worn out, which I'm not complaining about. I've had the thing years, but it has prompted me to do an updated video for upgrading an MK, whether it's a TM, SSX, or one of the clones like STTI, YNP, ASG, etc. So to start with, I'm going to be using the Tokyo Maru MK23. Reason for that is I've had clones in the past, and I had an SSX when they first come out. The clones, I just found the QC to be too hit and miss. I had trigger bars break, screws thread, just loads of little things that just put me off getting another one. And with the SSX 23, although in fairness this was the first batch, so I haven't had my hands on one recently. So for that reason, having issues with both of those, I've stuck with the TM, because the MKs that I've all got are all TMs. They just seem to have the best QC, and I've just had very few issues with them. So for that reason, I stick with the TM. Parts-wise, I'm going for the Hadron H-arm V2, which is the newer H-arm. So this is basically what's going to make contact with your hop rubber, and the shape of this is what's going to contact the bucking and give you the shape that your bucking has. Whether it's maple leaf, 9-ball, modify, or the flamingo, it gives you that concave profile, which is what's really helping these pistols hop that heavy ammo out there. Bucking wise, I'm going for the old 50 flamingo, which makes sense for me. Obviously it's my product, so obviously I use it, I believe in it, I trust in it. And for a lot of people, it is the go-to bucking. And when I work with Hadron on projects for MK and other things, we generally base things around the flamingo because it gives us the most consistent performance. So that's why I use them. But as I said, you've got alternatives. You can use things like the maple leaf, Autobots, Decepticons. The MR hops I'm not the hugest fan of. They're good bucking, but I just think the older Autobots and Decepticons are a little bit more consistent. The Modify X-Range buckings, again, really good performers. Issue that I've found with them is the inner sealing rings that they have tend to tear. Not all the time, but in things like pistols and GBBRs, that seems to be the main fail point. So depending on how much you use it and the ammo, choose the bucking which you like. But for me personally, I stick with the flamingo. And then I use the Hadron TDC with a triple plate, which can be popped out and you can orientate it so that the screws are at the back or the front. Hadron's the original TDC for the MK. It's been copied many times over by many people, but I stick to the tried and tested Hadron. I believe in supporting creators and innovators, so I will always use the Hadron TDC. My old MKs are running the really old single screw. I think the one behind me, my rig, I think that's got the 2 screw, and this is the Logic one, which comes with this triple plate. So I'm going to be using that. Barrel wise, again, there's loads of options. The go-to for a long time was the Crazy Jets, which some companies do have the specific cut because the MK uses VSR cuts basically, and not GBB cuts like every other gas blowback pistol. But I'm using the Modify 603 stainless steel. I've used them in a few other platforms and I was testing them, and I quite like them. The price isn't that bad compared to other barrels out there. It's a lot cheaper than a lot of other steel barrels, but the quality is good. The cuts are great. The window on these is brilliant. The way they've chamfered the entrance to the window is good, and they're the right length and the right fitting. So that's what barrel I'm going to be going for. I've used it in, I think I used it in one of my VSRs in 430, and I think I had it in one of my Glocks. But for the price, they're a good barrel, and for a steel barrel as well. So that's basically what's going to be going in there. And they're tried and tested parts. A lot of people use them. I use them. I've been using the same Hadron parts at least since I did my very first video on the MK, just because it works, and it completely... The TDC is probably the single biggest performance gain you're going to get when paired with a good bucking. And obviously using heavyweights on the MK like 4.45 and 4.8 are brilliant. But that's what I'm going for. And the TM obviously comes with a decent suppressor as well. It's a foam filled suppressor, nothing fancy, but it works, it does its job. I'm not going to be using the TM suppressor on my MK because I've got my own suppressor that I'm going to be using. But on the Carbine Kit, I've got here from AIRSOFT I do tend to use the TM suppressors, some little mods inside, but I think it goes with the look of the platform. Or is it the camera? And if, depending on how you're holstering your MK, having a long holster might be an issue. So I like shorter ones. But performance-wise, the holster? The suppressor you get with them is very, very good. So if you don't want to spend any more money, once you've obviously got your upgrades, the TM suppressor's absolutely fine. And yeah, if you're buying the TM, you get it included, so why wouldn't you use it? But that's it for the parts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over to the bench. I'm going to take the MK apart, talk about the parts that come in it and sort of why they need to be changed. And then I'm going to do a step-by-step how you get all these parts in, which isn't difficult at all. There's probably a handful of screws and a couple of pins you got to knock out. And the steps are pretty much the same for all MKs. The outer barrel will look a bit different if you're not using a TM. So if you're using the SSX or one of the clones, the outer barrel length is a bit different, but the actual chamber itself and how it all goes together is identical. So regardless of what MK you've got, this video is going to be absolutely suitable for you to swap and change your upgrades. And as I said, these aren't the be all and end all. These are a tried and tested formula that myself and many, many others use. But if you've got a preference of your barrel, use that. If you've got a different bucking that you prefer, use that. I would say stick to the tried and tested. Hadron, for two reasons: it is tried and tested, and also it's the original. Like, if we didn't have Hadron, you wouldn't have any of these. There'd be no other thing like this. So I think it is always good to support innovators when they do come out with products, despite other companies taking them on as their own. But that aside, let's go to the bench, let's get it apart, get the parts in. I didn't bring my chrono home today, so by the time I edit the other bits of the video, hopefully I'll remember it so I can show you some results of what you're likely to get afterwards. Gas dependent, obviously. But with that in mind, let's hop over to the bench and get started. So here we've got the TM MK23, and we're going to be taking this apart and then yeah, putting all these lovely bits in, which I covered at the beginning of the video. So we've got the Modify stainless steel 603, the Hadron H-arm V2, Hadron TDC tri-screw version, and a Flamingo 50. So first things first is we want to get this out. So you want to slide this back until this tab, you can see it through this cutout here, and then from the other side, just push it out, and then you should be able to just get your nail under there and wiggle it out, or use an Allen key and just push it through from the other side. Once that's out, you can just slide it forward and then up and off, and then this bit you can just put to the side. Next up is getting the outer barrel assembly out. So flip it over, and on the hop unit you'll see two tabs here. Slide the hop unit forward so they line up, and then just pop it down, and then it's going to want to spring out backwards anyway. And then the slide, you can put that to the side. And then this bit, if you've got a clone, this little section will look a bit different, but otherwise the rest of it's the same. So you can pop off this top cover just by getting your nail under it, popping it off. That's going to come off like so. You'll be left with this. Take the little spring out because we're not going to need it. Flip it over, and you'll see, depending on which version you've got, TM have a screw, the clones will have a pin. So one Phillips there, two smaller ones. So drop that down, get your screwdriver out. And so if you're using a clone, there's going to be a little pin that you tap out instead. So go over, take that screw out and put it to the side. This slides off. How easy it is will vary. Some of them just pop off, others are a bit more stiff. That one was pretty easy. So again, put that to the side. And then the hop unit here, you've got two small Phillips there. Make sure you use the correct size because they do have a tendency to strip. So get your small Phillips. And you're going to take these two out, and then the whole thing's just going to pop apart in two. Pop that to the side. Do the same there, and then basically you can put your finger in this end bit and gently just pop it apart. And if you do it gently enough, this recoil rod with the spring, you can leave it so it sits seated in there. Otherwise it springs out and you've got to basically line that spring up with the cutout there. So if you put it down that way, like so, you can take the hop-up arm, which is this little bit, you can take that off. The hop-up wheel, you can take that off. And then here you've got your stock barrel assembly, which is, get the bucking off, it's unbridged, but it's very narrow, so a lot of the stock barrels don't work very well with other buckings like Modify, Maple Leaf, things like that. So this is what we're going to swap out, so that can go to the side. I'm going to take your new barrel, in this case it's the Modify, pop it out. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I really do like the Modify barrels. They are very high quality. Look at that. Not bad at all. Grab your bucket of choice. For me, it's the Flamingo. And then just pop it on there. Have a look through the window. Make sure you've got it lined up. There you go. So that's coming through okay. And then you just simply find the cutout on here. Take your barrel, slot it in. Make sure the cutout's lined up. Again, keep hold of this so it doesn't pop out. Line the cutout up on this side, flip it back over, and then if you're using the H-arm, you literally just drop this in. However, if you're using a fang or the H-plate, you leave the hop arm in, and the H-plate and the H-plate and the fang sit in between it. But nowadays, I'd just go straight for the H-arm V2. So take that out and put it to the side for the minute, because at this stage, we can simply just shove this back together once you're confident you've got everything lined up. So line the two halves up, click it back together, and what I like to do just to hold it in place is put the outer barrel back on, which again can be easy or it can be stiff. In this case it's fairly easy. That just stops it coming apart while you're going to put these two screws back in. And again, be very careful of these, don't cross thread them, because they're very fine pitched screws. You don't need to wrench them down either, just torque them enough so that they bite, and that'll be enough. There's one. Shove the other one back in. There's two. Then you want to check, make sure your buckin's in fine, which it is. There we go. And then take the H plate. You can kind of see the shape of it already. So that literally just drops in and it fits like a glove. Where's the camera? There. And then you take your TDC, line the two tabs up on the front with the two little cutouts here. Get them under it. And then click it down. And that's it. That is as easy as that. How you have the screws is going to depend on which bucking you want to use. With the Flamingo, I suggest the two screws facing the muzzle. With other buckings, you can have it the other way around. If you're using like traditional mound style buckings, just use the center screw. But that's it. That is how quick and easy it is. The only bit that I need to do now is put your screw, or if you're using one of the clones, put your pin back in the outer barrel. Screw it back in. Grab your slide. Put the outer barrel in first. So you can see I've pushed the outer barrel in. And then you push it forward. Try and line this up. And when you do, you'll have these two tabs here. They go in. Push it all the way in. It will spring back into place. Make sure it all looks correct, which it does. And then simply take your slide, angle it in under these tabs here at the back, slide it, take your takedown pin, so line it up like that, hold it in place, takedown pin goes back in, pushes all the way through. Mine's a bit stiff because I haven't lubed it and I haven't pushed the screws down, so that's something to be careful of. Make sure all the screws are recessed, But otherwise, that's how easy it is. If you want an MK that'll send 4.8s for miles, this combination of parts is the go-to combination, and it literally takes a few minutes to do. There are optional extras you can do, like the Hadron Savior kits, stop your mags falling out, suppressors and things. And when they get a bit old, you can shove the WeTech stuff in. But that's it. That is how quick and easy that is. No more drilling of the outer barrel if you get a correct size. Bucking just lines up, barrel fits perfectly. The Hadron H plate drops in, TDC clips on. It really is that easy, guys. So if you've got an MK and you want to treat yourself to something that's going to outrange most AGs, this is what you need, guys. This. So guys, that was it. It's that easy. It literally takes a few minutes, 2 screwdrivers and something to poke the pin out. That's generally it. And then you get this bad boy. Again, this is the TM with the TDC, 603 steel barrel, Hadron H plate, H arm even, sorry, and a Flamingo 50. And you've got something that's going to be a reliable sidearm that will hop anything you put through it. 4.8s, not a problem. Depending on your suppressor, it's going to be quiet, and it is probably, if not the best sidearm you can have if you're playing the sniper role. And even if you're not in the sniper role and you just want something that isn't particularly heavy, because these are all polymer, there's not a lot of weight to them. You want something as a quiet sidearm, this is it. And it doesn't just stop there. So there'll be some more videos coming, but I'll tease it. So this is great. We like this. It's not that expensive. Performance is very good. Plenty of parts for it. But it doesn't stop there. No, it doesn't stop there. Because what you can do, if the mood takes you, you can grab something like this. This is an AirTac HPA adapter for the MK23. Now what that means you can do is you can load your MK. You can take a mag. This one is an MP5, but you can get M4 and you can get drum mags. And then you can HPA it. Oh yes you can. You can put HPA on there with a reg, and you can have this set at whatever you want. If you're using it as a DMR here in the UK, 1.7 joules, not a problem. Using it at the standard 1 joule, not a problem. These are readily available, and if you've already got a HPA set up, it is an alternative to make the MK just that little bit more consistent, and obviously be able to tune the power without having to worry about gases, which is cool. It takes something as simple as this and gives you something that can easily be used as a primary. But that's still not all. No. Because you could then go and you could get yourself a carbine kit. So this one I had made for me by Richard over at Otar Shop, Otar Airsoft. And this is a resin / 3D printed carbine kit. This is running a TM in it with the same, near enough the same upgrades as that, with a slightly modified TM suppressor and a basic AEG stock. And it's got the cutout so you can get to the hop unit. And this just makes it a little bit more stable, a bit more tactical. And there's loads of people doing these kits. I really like this one and it's absolutely my preference, but Novrich has a kit, Tridos has a kit, Foundry Airsoft has a kit, and it's just something else you can do to the already awesome platform that is the MK. And you could take something like this and you could HPA it with one of the drum mags, and you're gonna have something that you can take out. You'll have a tank and a hose, but you won't have to carry a load of MK mags. You'll just have one of these with either an M4 mag, the MP5 ones that I've shown, or the drum mag adapter. And you've got something that will absolutely hold its own against pretty much every AG out there. And in some cases, these are better than snipers. And if you are using it as a primary or a secondary, you can just get a little suppressor. This is just a 3D printed one that was done ahead of the production ones that are coming, which will look different to this. But again, there's a reason I've got a load of these. They're just solid platforms, and these ones are all TMs, because I am a firm believer when it comes to airsoft and quality. Sometimes brands, especially like TM, really are worth their weight in gold on some platforms, and with their pistols and the MK specifically, they absolutely are. So that's it. Hopefully this has been a short video. I don't know how long it's going to be after I've edited it, but hopefully it's quick, it's easy. The parts that I've used are pretty much what 90% of people are using. And if you've got preferences in terms of other brands that you like for barrels and buckins, use them. The same sort of formula works. You just need a good bucking with the Hadron parts and you're going to have a solid contender. Like this is my old TM and I've had this over 5 years, maybe longer. This has been to France with me. I've gamed all over the UK with it and it's never let me down. It's only recently started to be a little sluggish, but either way, I've had my money's worth out of it. And I know for a fact I wouldn't have had that if it was a clone. So hopefully if you've got an MK, whether it is the TM or one of the clones or the NOV, this has been insightful. It gives you an idea of what you can put in it, and if you've never taken it apart, how easy it really is to take them apart. Because I know a lot of people don't know how to do it, or they're just not that confident. I've shown you that was pretty much unedited by the time I finished. Like, it's that quick, it's that simple. So hopefully it helped, hopefully you've enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm going to do some more videos on the Carbine Kit and then a separate one on the HPA setup. So if you're running an MK and you want to know a bit more about the options you've got, stick around, subscribe, like, share, all of that nonsense. And yeah, keep an eye on the new videos coming up. Otherwise, guys, bye-bye.